February 17, 2017. At this time, I would like to ask for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Cal, would you lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It is a little clear.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Katnig.
Present.
Commissioner Hood.
Present.
Commissioner Prince.
Yeah.
Attorney Clint Smith.
Present.
And Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper present.
Okay. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
If I may,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve the minutes at the next regular board meeting on the 21st as opposed to this morning, if that's acceptable with you.
Okay, did you?
Yeah,
Not on this
I think
agenda.
they're on the 21st anyway.
Oh, are they? Oh, I saw them on here also, that's why I added.
Well, if
Those-
that's just a placeholder,
Those of you that have the agenda, we will move the approval of the minutes to our meeting next Tuesday down here.
Thanks.
I'd like to open it now for some public comments. And we need to go around, if you would, and introduce yourself so we have your voice on the recorder so we can identify you, please. That's,
Veronica Perez
wait,
from H.E. Whitlock.
did you tell him?
I'm Tony Surfling, the superintendent on the project from H.E. Whitlock.
Mickey Bonham, president of H.E. Whitlock. And I'm Justin Bonham, project manager for the Wetmore Community Center.
Cal Leslie, Westcliff.
John Spar, Wetmore.
Ruth Barr, Wetmore. Jackie Bubis for the Sentinel.
Ray Garber, Wetmore.
Betty Garber, Wetmore.
Jerry West, Wetmore.
Dee West, Wetmore. Corey Haynes, Wetmore. Brent Tygebob, Wetmore. Pam Hayward, Wetmore.
Nan Davenport, Wetmore.
Courtney Davenport, Wetmore.
Nancy Cruz, Wetmore.
Alden Gray, Wetmore.
Ruth Rucker, Wetmore Fire.
West, Wetmore.
Okay. Do we have any commissioner items at this time we want to bring up?
Not at this time.
No, sir, I don't at this time.
All right. Let me stay up here. Any attorney items?
No, sir.
All right. We will go into an executive session later today. We're not going to do that right at this time. And we'll move into the new and old business. The reason we're here today is that we found out that we're about $100,000 over budget. We found this out with the meeting that my colleague said last week. And we need to think about it, we need to talk about it, we need to figure out what we can fix. We're certainly not here to throw rocks. We're not here to decrease the importance of the building. We're just here to try to figure out how we can stretch it. And at that time, I would turn it over to one of my colleagues, if either one of you would like to.
Well, what was supposed to happen today was a submittal of charges that we were made aware of and where our project is to date. So is that going to be presented?
Yeah, we can kind of go through what makes up the close to $100,000.
Just a second. You want to say something?
I do. I have several issues I would like to discuss. I received a memo on February 15th that I found to be extremely disturbing. We learned some things at a meeting on Monday this week for the very first time, that Custer County is being assessed, it's costing Custer County $300 a day for each day this project is delayed. It is currently how long overdue? 3 months?
Since January 31st.
Okay.
The project was to be completed on the 31st.
Okay, so we're looking at probably a $30,000 delay. When asked why these delays were here, we heard a story about a 3-month delay on an ADA bathroom that should have been addressed at the beginning. There's no insulation in the ceiling of the building. This is Southern Colorado. How could an architect not put insulation in the ceiling? This raises the cost. We found that there's a ceiling in the kitchen that was never put in the plans. I'd like to know why not. We have custom-made studs in that building. I don't know why. Why aren't they're much more expensive than standard studs? Why? This project started at a $400,000 project. It's now close to $800,000. And there are things, for example, the drinking fountain, we're being assessed $4,775. A similar one should cost $1,564. These aren't my numbers, folks. This is coming from our architect. There are significant cost overruns that we're being straddled with that I question whether this was handled properly, whether the architect did it properly, whether the contractor did it properly, and I am the responsible party for this. I will be looking into it. I may have outside help to do that. It's not a threat. I just want to know where my money's going. Not my money, your money, our money. That's my job, is to make sure that this, hang on a second, to make sure that this project is done appropriately. I'd like to know why I found out this past Monday that each day this project is overdue, it's costing us $300, us, $300. Any project I've ever been on, if you folks made a mistake, that you didn't do it right, that's your problem, not mine. Why am I paying it? I gotta understand this better. So excuse me for being a little annoyed. I'm more than annoyed. I'm downright mad, and I'm sorry, because it's these folks' money, and it's everybody in Custer County's money. And I want to know why it's being, what appears to be squandered. So that's where I am.
May I just make a correction, Jay? The cost of the construction is actually $760,000.
It was originally, I have the paperwork, it was originally quoted at $450,000.
But our contract is that amount.
I understand.
I would like to introduce one more person, Tom Duke. Tom just walked in. Welcome, Tom. Okay.
Well, so I guess to address the $300 a day, we do have a breakdown of what make up those costs in the request for proposal. And it's basically all of our general conditions. It covers the superintendent's time for, days beyond January 31st. Vehicle charges, phone charges. Yeah.
Why is it delayed?
So,
It's not from our change orders, I know that.
Give him a moment. The reason these two are in the middle of it, Donna is the commissioner responsible for facilities, county buildings. And then Jay, I've asked to take the lead because he's your district commissioner.
So we've got project supervision, project management, we've got gas and oil, telephone, waste removal services, rental equipment, truck expense, and just continuous cleaning labor that continues through the end of the project. And to answer the other question of why the delay, you mentioned the 88 bathrooms, and so partway through the project, when we were getting the bathrooms inspected for the rough end, the state inspector came to do his review, and it was his interpretation of the code that the 88 bathrooms were to be located in another part of the building. Tom can explain a little bit more too, that the original design, the interpretation of the International Building Code differed from the Universal Plumbing Code, and so there was a conflict there, and that went on for, trying to get them to reason with this project for about 3 weeks.
About a month.
About a month.
I should add that the intention was to avoid increased cost to the county. That was the intention. The interpretation that we made, there's a section of the code that says that the ADA bathroom can be on the upper level, or as long as it's not more than 1 floor above or below the area that it's serving. The state plumbing inspector in his infinite wisdom, determined that that is not what they think. And I can't do anything about that. So we were in an attempt to try to save money, and at the holidays, we got less than immediate response from the state.
And so during that process, once the inspector, I think it was in November, end of November, that he came and inspected and basically told us not to proceed any further until there was a resolution. And so during the dispute that went on that Tom was talking about, and not getting response back from the state during the holidays, cost the time, the schedule of the project, a month just in knowing how to proceed, so that Tom could proceed with new drawings for the ADA area. So that's a big part of the delay that's pushed the project beyond what was anticipated. We've continued going forward in other areas of the project, but now we're at the end of what our original budget was for the duration of the project, and to keep a superintendent going and employ our people on site, it costs us money every day.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Was Commissioner Atterbury made aware of this in November?
Yes.
He was made aware of the delay.
Well, knowing that it was that there was an issue with the state inspection. So
something
not knowing what the delay was going to be, we were hoping that we could dispute, or that Tom could dispute the interpretation of the code, and that we could convince the plumbing inspector that no, this code reads this way in the International Building Code, and that we could just go ahead and proceed on. But it just kind of kept...
And that was entirely the correct path to be followed, because he's the commissioner that was taking the lead on the project. So you were exactly in the right place.
So, two questions. One, what is the additional expense for the ADA bathroom downstairs, approximately?
Just so people know also, we haven't got this resolved yet, so it's now mid-February, and we still haven't worked on our bathroom yet. So
Can't work on until it's resolved.
we have to get it resolved, just to let you know. So it's three months out.
Hang on a second, get what resolved? The inspector resolved, or us approving
design.
the
It's
additional
the
expenses? Or the additional charging for the delay? I don't
The design
understand.
and approval and pricing.
The design has already been done, it's
Yeah, the
just a
design's
matter of
done.
getting
Okay,
the
so how much,
change order.
what are we estimating the cost of this
So
bathroom at?
it's approximately $14,000.
Okay. And my question is, and it may be rhetorical, and it may prove that I don't know what I'm talking about, which is true, why was this not addressed in the design phase? Why is it in the middle of construction, things stop at $300 a day, to have an inspector say, no, you have to have it? Why wasn't that addressed during the design phase? And the inspector could have said, we need an ADA bathroom here, and that would have been costing us a delay. Whether we had to buy it or not is another issue, but the delay is what I'm really concerned about.
We were operating under interpretation of the code, and under the design criteria that I have used in several other locations throughout Colorado. So, yeah, that does show a little bit that we need to be a little more aware of what's going on.
But
The code has multiple sections, and we found a section that I have gone under that says, again, you can put a bathroom, an ADA bathroom, on one floor above or below the area it serves. That is not what the state determined. Whether that is a new interpretation on their part, or whether it is just this individual who thinks that he is doing the community a service, that I can't answer. But
should
the
this
design
been addressed in the
for
design?
IDC. It was designed for the IDC. So I really hope that we can eliminate disparaging comments about architects and designers. The other thing that was stated.
This is not a disparaging, I
Well,
resent, wait, hang on a second, I resent that comment.
The
I
second-
want to understand why it caused this delay and why that wasn't done properly. Excuse me.
The other thing that you stated was that how could an architect in Colorado not put insulation in the ceiling?
Yeah,
We did have insulation in the ceiling at one time in the project. Through the value engineering process, it was determined that it was not value engineered to have it in there, so we took it out. There is no insulation in the upper area in the attic space. There has never been insulation in the attic space. Once we knew that we could get up there and into the attic space, and it was the understanding at one time that we could do this without impacting the existing ceiling, then it was determined, okay, well, let's try to put insulation in, because that only does everything, that only makes it better for everyone. Obviously, from the comments back and the pricing back from Whitmore, we cannot put insulation in without impacting the existing ceiling. Therefore, that's why the cost is what it is. But to say that we did not consider it is a falsehood. We did consider it, and it was taken out through value engineering.
Okay, Commissioner, please.
how about the ceiling in the kitchen, that we find that to meet code, it needs to be please, I don't understand, and if I'm incorrect, please correct me, but it needs to be a cleanable ceiling suspended, and in the plans that's not there?
The ceiling did not need to be suspended. It needs to be scrubbable. The existing ceiling with the paint finish was scrubbable. However, when we determined that the amount of ductwork that was going in there, and at one time it was envisioned that we would have to run a duct for the grease hood across the plane of the existing ceiling, we said, well, now with all these disruptions and variations in the heights, places for dust to gather, it would be better to drop a ceiling. That's how that came about.
So that's an item that we could put in or not, right?
Now that we're not going with the duct across the room, yes.
Right. So, yeah, and that's what I explained.
Can I ask about the custom studs as opposed to the standard studs?
Custom studs is a bit of a misnomer. The studs are based, the type of stud is based on the structural bearing capacity of that stud. The fact that we have to bear ceiling joists on a steel stud was why we went to a deeper gauge or heavier gauge stud. And that was because of the ceiling and as well as the brick. So that has been in the project since day one. And that is based on recommendations from the structural engineer.
All right.
Anything else?
That does not, however, address the amount of money that the change order is asking for in addition, which is why I asked for backup on that. There are several things that we've asked for backup on. Looking at reducing cost, we've gone back and forth amongst ourselves, the contractor and myself, about the existing doors that are at the second floor, in the original existing doors into the building. And one of the comments that was made to us was that, well, the community would like the capacity to lock off the upper floor if the lower floor is in use. The fallacy of that is that you have a rear stair that is wide open to upstairs and downstairs. So with the pricing back, if it was going to be a price of about, $1,000 or $2,000, okay, that's not that bad. When it's up as high as it is, I would come back and say, don't put the doors in, leave them out. They absolutely serve no purpose now.
And one thing I would like to stress, I would like to keep this informational, not accusatory.
And Tom, if I'm being abrasive, I apologize. I'm just very concerned about our taxpayer money.
As I am.
And I don't mean, the chairman is absolutely correct. I don't mean, I'm sitting here, you probably could tell fire coming out of my ears. Thank you for the email that alerted me to things I had no idea. I was very upset when I heard about the $300 overage. The very few building projects I've been involved in, if the fire causes the overage, they pay for it. If it's something else and it's takes longer than the anticipated time. The builder eats that. So when I hear that the project on Monday is another $80,000 to $100,000, and I hear that for the first time I'm learning there's a $300 overage, and we're maybe at the end of March before we finish, so that's 2 months. That's what, $90,000 if my little pea brain did that properly. Aside from things that I don't understand. I mean, I hear what you're saying about the insulation. I know it didn't have it previously. I was at the meeting when you said, do you guys want insulation? And I thought to myself, excuse me, on an outside wall? I mean, why was that?
No, I understand.
And I'm not picking on you, I'm just trying to understand why we're in this position for so much more money on a project that has continued to escalate. The additional time is going to be expensive. I just did the math just for fun. There's 240 mailboxes in Wetmore. I could have sent everybody a check for $3,250 and said, we're not upgrading your facility. The facility needed to be upgraded. The folks deserve it. I want it. I'm 100% in favor of it. I'm just very concerned about the amount of money this is costing and the surprises that I'm hearing. And I grant you, I've not been here from the beginning. I've been here at the very tail end. You don't know what I've been told or what I haven't been, so I get that. I want to protect my people.
Well,
And I don't mean that in an ugly way, folks. I'm trying to protect our money is what I'm really trying to do.
and actually, you know, this is to Justin. I'm a little more than mystified at the general conditions.
Right.
Because typically, every project that I've ever done, and I said this in the memo,
Yeah.
it's 10 to 15% of the construction cost.
And that's 100% right, but this isn't a percentage of general conditions based on the value.
It's not a percentage of material.
It's on the time, the extension of time.
Tom, that isn't the way you figure general conditions. It isn't a percentage of the material. It's individual items like supervision and the day-to-day.
That's what makes up
the
general
day-to-day
conditions,
jobs.
exactly right. But from
If
my
that's the
work-
way you figure it, it's incorrect.
From what I've worked with other contractors, it is 10 to 15% period.
I have never known a contractor, I've been in this for 40 years,
I
I've
can
never
take you
known a
down and
contractor
introduce
to
you to a
figure it
couple
out on
of
a
them, right.
percentage basis.
Well, but it's two different conversations. There are general conditions that are based on a percentage of the cost of work, and then there's general conditions for the duration of time. And what we're talking about here is an additional 75 days. And it's common sense that every day that we are beyond what we had originally.
Then I would ask of you need to tell me and assure me with documentation that every day of those 75 days is a result of delays that we have caused.
Okay.
Not that either the project, weather, any other thing. I just don't think that that's correct.
I think we may be straying just a little afield.
Could I have answers to my original question?
Okay.
It's back, which were the itemized costs of what we discussed on Monday.
Okay.
Because we have had conversation with our sheriff yesterday.
Okay.
Okay, so we can address some of these costs that we can nix right up front. But I would like the audience and ourselves to hear what those individual
Okay.
costs are.
And the conversation with the sheriff, Stevie, was regarding what we're gonna do with the sheriff's office, what they need, what will meet their minimum requirements. And I want to repeat, what we're doing in front of the folks, I promised you that we would get this building done, and we will get it done. Please don't think it's not at the top of our radar. We will collectively, working together, we will get this figured out. Right now, we're gonna pay for it, but we are going to get your building finished as close as we can to what you folks would like.
Can I just add one thing?
I think Donna still has a question. You got it done?
Well, I should get my answers.
What Chairman was discussing on the sheriff's office, there's a sheriff's office in your building. I just want to make sure you understood that. I was just trying to clarify, no, you didn't. I was trying to clarify.
Okay.
I just wanted to comment before Justin goes, is that he has taken every item that was involved, as you asked us to do, and has broken it down. Originally, when we went and met with you guys, we were asked to lump several of those items together, and so you had one big price for like 6 different items that were changed or added. And so we broke that apart, and it's all so that you can consider each item and do it or don't. And
I think the way we're probably going to go, I'm just throwing this out in the college too, but we'll go through here and see if we can find that are issues, and you'll be welcome to ask questions, and then we'll go into a session and see how we think we can fix them. Then we can bring those back on Tuesday in our commission meeting down here and continue the discussion. Is that comfortable with you folks?
So far.
Go ahead, whoever wants.
I was just gonna ask somebody if I may. The very, very first time we met over at the building, and Donna asked and I concurred, we'd like set plans, we'd like the contract, we'd like to be brought up to speed. Verbally, we were brought up to speed. I'm still waiting for the plans. Last time we asked, the last meeting, you said it was in process or something like that.
The plans?
for what?
The plans
The
for the building.
architectural
The
plans.
architectural plans.
You don't
Yeah,
have the
just
architectural.
Jump in real quickly.
Sure.
We have been waiting for engineering to catch up with the changes that have been proposed. with the
Okay, so they're
changes.
still in
I have
process?
set the plans right now.
Okay.
So you're
As
talking
soon as I got
about new
done,
plans?
Yeah.
we've read it.
Plans of the project. I can't go like this if one of these folks say, where's the whatever? I can't open up a piece of paper and say, let's find it.
We
Because I don't
had,
have
So
it.
you don't
we
have
had
original
4 books
plans?
that were developed. We have one in our office. I don't know where the other 3 are. I'm assuming probably that Lynn may have one. I think probably
There's
the
a couple.
advisory board, which is going to be a very integral part as we move forward. I think you folks have one up to a certain point that's accurate.
And that's what we're missing is from that point forward is what I was hoping to have. So,
I do
thank
have
you.
a question.
Sure.
Yes,
Mr. Prince said that this project was $400 and some thousand. The actual budget that we can remember, and I think it's in the book, is $825,000 was approved for this budget. This is the budget.
Right, the first budget that we had, that we based the dole grant, was a total of $511,243, of which 149 was county match and the rest was DOLA match. And then we come back, when we got the bids back in, we were a long ways off. They come in, these folks were the closest to our figure. The other 2 bids were over 900,000. We worked with Tom, we worked with Whitlaw, and you guys were able to reduce that by about, from memory, but $40,000 or $50,000, I think, that you were able to cut for 30,000, something. We had a reduction in the number. And that was the number that we based on your contract, which was the 749,000, whatever.
Right, but then you budgeted for $825,000. I never seen a budget.
16.
We have a figure here, right, we have the building costs. There's two different things, you're entirely correct, but we have a $60,000 cost in the project, which we covered from the planning phase. And then we have a $5,000 on the consulting, and then our construction cost is $760. And the $760 on construction cost is where we're going over. We've already paid the $60,000 and I believe the $5,000. But you're entirely correct, but where we are here is just on the construction cost budget.
Actually, if I could make one clarification, that,
Pardon me?
it's my understanding that that $5,000 consultant fee is actually for the, what do you call it, commissioning of the building.
I think that it is, but it's not related to the construction cost of the building, and that's where we get the figure that we're working on.
And if I just respond to this gentleman, I did say 450, you're absolutely correct, I was wrong. I meant 511, I couldn't remember the exact number, I thought it was 450, so I stand corrected. My impression was 511,000 was the beginning,
But
and
the
now
total
we're...
budget was $825. You actually budgeted.
Right, but where we're going from initially is we took the project on from our first initial steps was about 500 11,000. And then when we got to the bidding standpoint, we saw that we were way out, so we went to DOLA and got 80,000. And then we took another 80,000 out of our capital improvement. And that's how we're arriving at this figure, the figure that I'm talking, that we're very comfortable with this total figure we have up here. That, we're not questioning that a bit. So where we are is what we had budgeted for the actual construction is where our concern is today. But you're right on target on that total figure.
Thank you.
I would just like to add something that in our first construction meeting, my first question was, what is this costing the county since we were past, well, we weren't past January 31st, but I wanted to know what that cost on a daily basis was. And we just found out this week. Okay, so just know that I was trying to do my due diligence back in January.
Get back to you.
Yeah, so,
Question, what is the cost of that door?
yeah, so I can go through.
Oh, you got all of
He's
that.
got all that.
Excellent.
So
Go
that's
right
what
on.
we're gonna go
So in the RFPs that you all have,
You just whip
everything
them
is
right.
broken down, and I can go through to, for everybody to understand, and the figure that Jay mentioned before, that is a big lump sum of a lot of items that are added to the project. So it's not just the $300 a day that's costing that $100,000. It's
That's correct.
so we've got a drinking fountain that's around $4,700. We've got some additional data drops, about $75 for those. Additional duplexes for the outlet and drinking fountain, for the outlet for the drinking fountain is $556. Relocation of the doors that we were talking about that are the old front doors was a little over $5,600. We've got an ADA opener for that same door, was another $2,500. And then there was a value engineering pricing versus what was approved through the submittal process on the structural studs, came in at $12,352. And then there's backup for all that in your RFP. Then we have, there was a stainless steel panel that needed to go behind the kitchen hood. Originally there was FRP. It was decided that stainless steel would be a better surface. So we were asked to price out the difference between the FRP and the stainless was $862. The new ADA restrooms that we've discussed was $13,588. The acoustical ceiling in the kitchen was $2,988. Some HVAC work in the kitchen. I just received that yesterday afternoon. Sorry, it was $770. That was just the cost from the HVAC. And then some new tropical light style light fixtures that go in that drop ceiling was $627. So with all those together, ends up being $4,700 approximately.
47,000.
No, just for the kitchen
Oh,
ceiling.
for the kitchen.
Yeah.
The kitchen ceiling, does that include of the chimney and all that?
No.
That's new.
Yep. And then the insulation that Jim mentioned. So to elaborate on that, we opened up some ceiling above where the new stairs are going in the rear of the building, and we kind of kicked around the idea while we were standing on site that, hey, maybe we could get an insulator out here that could get up through the ceiling and blow insulation easily throughout the entire ceiling. So we invited them up there to give us a quote on what it would take to get that insulation done. And we asked them if they could reach everything from where we had the ceiling open. And they said no, there was no way that they could do that. We would have to open up strips all the way through the ceilings going north and south, and another strip going east and west. so that they could get up there and get insulation in every nook and cranny of the ceiling. So that pricing, just for the installation by itself, was $56.73, and then the removal and replacing the drywall and painting it and everything was $6,508, which came to $12,181. So that, so those all added up together is we've got $12,181, $43,596. And $25,849.
What about the sheriff's office?
So the sheriff's office,
The transfer duct.
yeah, so the transfer duct, we just received the plans for that last Friday. I got pricing from the HVAC contractor yesterday, so I haven't had time to put it into a formal proposal. But just our cost from TJ's Refrigeration and Mechanical was $1,800. So that was for the installation of an interior line transfer air duct, sealing of all joints, for code and installation of 12 by 8 floor tanks and 24 by 24 ceiling diffusers.
Thank you.
So my total roughly 82,000, is that kind of where, is that a ballpark estimate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, instead of 100, it's 82.
We do have, so there's been a recent change on how we're going to duct the kitchen hood through the ceiling. We have to demo out the existing chimney, and we think that we can do that pretty efficiently by removing just two sides of the chimney wall, run that ductwork up through the ceiling, and then through the roof, and put a roof cap on that instead of running it through the kitchen like we originally thought would be a.
So have you included the labor for doing that in this estimate, or
No.
that would be additional?
That would be additional.
Do you have any estimate of what that might be?
Oh, it might take, what, 2-3 days to get the demo
That sounds
done,
right.
and then a little bit of framing to frame those walls back in. We can use 1 5/8 metal studs with some drywall. I don't know, maybe,
And
We're not gonna hold you to it.
the duct itself should be a little bit less cost.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be easier for,
well, they do have, so on the other item that I received yesterday afternoon, so we did get their cost to do that for TJ's. They had a credit of $110 for a different way of strapping it, so it's a little bit more accessible for them. The roof-mounted curb to trim it out on the roof would be $400, and then there was a change in the motor going from a direct drive to a belt drive was an additional $400. So the net on that was $690 from the mechanical engineer.
Okay, and then you have
And
your
then
expense,
we'll have some demo and some drywall and framing. So
2,500?
yeah,
Yeah, just
I mean
throw it around.
worst case.
I would think
That's
so.
pretty tight.
Yeah.
But that's,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 3,000 worst case.
Good.
Okay, what else? Sid?
As far as I know.
At this time, neither one of you have a pressing question?
I'm fine, and I apologize if I came off a little belligerent. I don't like surprises, so if I
And
was
on-
excessive, I apologize, but I'm really concerned.
On the email that I think got you fired up a little bit,
A little bit.
we can address each item
Okay.
if you'd like to
Fine,
do
we could
that.
do that when
Okay.
we don't need to do
I would like to hear from some of you folks. If you've got any questions
I
at
just
all.
have a question on that insulation going on the overhead, the purpose.
It's Colorado, and the heat will just come through if we don't have insulation. I
It
would
just
not
gives
be
you
an
more energy
engineer.
efficiency.
But that's in the basement or in the ceiling?
It's in the ceiling of the second floor, so it's in the roof elevation.
I don't think there's ever been anything in it.
There hasn't,
There's nothing in it, never has been.
never has been.
We do that.
Cal?
it would seem to me like having a little bit of construction experience in the planning stage, the person I used to work for, we always figured a problem with the inspectors. We almost always anticipated, not so much the codes, but how the inspector interpreted those codes. And that, it can cause a serious delay and cost companies a lot of money and people.
I don't know how anybody can anticipate redoing an entire bathroom, ADA, and
I don't have any idea how you do it, but I know that we used to plan 30 to 60 days delays because of the inspectors.
Really?
Should've been in the
Where was that?
Kansas City.
Yeah, that's not anything that we're familiar with. We've never done.
we would never get a job if we did that, not on a competitive bid. If it was a design build process, maybe you can have some contingency and things like that, but, you know, in a competitive bid situation, nobody estimates that way. You'd never get a project.
Well, we see what the end result is, don't we?
Yeah, that's the competitive bid, that's the process of competitive bid. If it's, if you do a CMGC and design build type project, you have less.
Well, I have to
problems like
assume
that.
this isn't you guys' first rodeo.
No, absolutely not.
And if I could just follow up, my concern is not that we need it or don't need it. My concern is it's costing us $300 a day because of this delay. That's my only concern. We need it, we need code, we're gonna do everything legally and appropriate. But $300 a day is just a crow in my behind, to be honest with you.
I would like to see if the Whitman Community Center board members have any thoughts or suggestions or ideas.
Good question.
I think you're doing a fantastic job on working on it, and delays are inevitable in a project like this. And some of them are not foreseeable. And we just have to go with the flow and just get the building done.
Yeah, the time doesn't concern me, it's the dollars.
Well, of course, dollars concerns
We
everybody.
gotta fix it, collectively.
But there is a way to fix it. It's just get it done and then work at fixing the money. It'll come.
We have a bill to pay at the end. And we have a timeline. So we are not in a position to say, just go. We're not there.
Well, if you could show me where you're over that $125,000 budget, what is it? I'd like to see that really on paper. I don't think you're there.
I don't know, because I asked also for today to know where we are to date with everything. Tom, do you have that?
That's why we're here today, to figure out what
That's
we
in
need
the
to
change
answer.
order that I
and-
sent on Monday.
You what?
That's in the change order that I sent on Monday to Jay.
But the way it works, as I recall, help me out here, but every 30 days, you guys send the bills to Tom sends them to us, and we pay them.
Yes.
Yep, that's correct, right? So where we are today, we can pull up our vouchers that we have paid. Tom may have that number handier than I do, but we've got that in our finance office. Every item that we have is identified by voucher, and when it's submitted from him to Donna, then we pay it as quickly as we can so these guys get them here.
Since time is money, and we're dealing with some delays, the smartest thing we could do is for you people to make decisions on these items ASAP, and give us a yay or nay,
Yeah.
and the things you want will go, and the things you don't want, we'll forget about.
And that's what I would
But
hope.
we need that to happen
Gonna
fast.
happen today.
I would hope that would happen. We'll discuss them today. I don't know if we'll make them possibly today, but I think we also need it. Tuesday's not that many days away.
Okay.
And we can discuss that when we get down to the bottom, but I would like these folks to see what we're doing and so forth before we rubber stamp it and go forward. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Someone was talking behind me.
Oh,
I have two questions.
Yeah.
One on the door. You're talking about the entry, the old entry door.
Yeah.
You're gonna take, where are you moving it to? The stairway?
So the plan would be to move it
3 feet.
back inside the building further, about 3 feet. So right now, as the doors open, they open in front of the doors that are going into the sheriff's office and the commissioner's office.
So you're not really talking about the old front door that you have to
Yes.
open to get in the building?
Yes.
And so what's going to be in this open space? Isn't elevator right in there?
I believe that's.
It's just making the
ADA
opening
compliance,
a little
isn't
bit
it, that we
bigger.
have to have that space?
We could show you on the plans, we got the plans right here, let's bring those out and show you.
That would actually be a significant savings.
If I could just reiterate before we go looking through plans and everything, the original purpose of those doors was to secure the building. At this point in time, we have a new vestibule that secures the building. The doors up there on the second floor, because the back stair is open to the lower level, those doors at that front area now serve no purpose. You cannot secure that upper level from the lower level with just those doors. So they don't matter. They don't do anything.
But if they came in further, you wanted them locked just for the sheriff's office and the emergency
No.
station. So they're cosmetic.
Yes.
They're cosmetic.
Well,
Sheriff's
go away with
office.
them.
Right.
They're really not cosmetic. They'll lock that portion of the building out.
But
The police department can have their office open to the building, to themselves. The rest of the building is locked off.
No, you still have the rear stairwell. There's no door in that rear stairwell.
So all you need is one metal door with a lock, so they can't get
What do you
upstairs.
mean there's no door?
In the back stairwell,
There sure is.
There is now, but there won't be.
there won't be. No, I'm not talking about going outside, I'm talking about from the lower level.
I don't care about that. We got a locked door on the bottom, on the outside.
Oh, yes, yes,
All right,
yes,
that's
yes.
it. That's the two doors.
Yeah.
One
No, you're
downstairs and
absolutely
one
right.
upstairs. That secures that whole area.
It secures the entire building.
That's absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not gonna separate the lower level from the upper
I didn't say it
level.
was.
You're right. Okay.
So what you're saying is we don't need them,
We need those doors,
you need them,
yes.
You need
But
the
not the
upstairs
main
doors.
doors upstairs, he's
Yes.
talking about.
not the doors upstairs.
No, those
So-
I think are cosmetic, but don't
No.
destroy them, they're history. You put 'em
Well, we're gonna have to
somewhere.
sit down, I appreciate where you're coming from, but we spend a lot of money on extras and
She doesn't
things.
understand.
Oh.
The two doors we're talking about upstairs, the original doors,
Yeah.
They're
are
the
going,
outside.
excuse me, are gonna move back 3 or 4 feet, but they're gonna be there. That secures the rest of that building.
From the
No.
elevators.
Now,
The elevator's got nothing to do with it.
Because they're right dead, kind of dead center in the hallway.
I
And
think it's better if they see. Because that's his
I think
safety.
what John is saying is that
Elevators
he's
get
assuming, and I think in the case,
It's the same.
that your back exterior door is locked, and those double doors were locked, and that's one set of keys. The keys to the main building are a different set of keys, and in that case, yeah, you would be securing the building.
Okay, those are the doors, so this is the old stairway going up.
Yeah.
And the elevator's-
So when they open up right here, they're opening into the, so if they're open all the time, they kind of block off the door that's going in here, so the idea was to move them back. But they are not securing anything up here because if you're downstairs, you can still come up these stairs.
But this is
the
nothing.
new addition.
Okay, but what is right, this is the elevator that opens up here and you
Yes.
walk out.
So you have a door coming in here, door coming in here, so you can look downstairs, or you can come in here and come,
It's because it's stairs that it may be
So,
against fire.
if you lock these off and you're downstairs, you come up these stairs, you can't get in. But if you're downstairs, you can come up here because there is no door on that side.
So they see, is it door here, so nobody can walk, nobody can walk in.
But you can still do that.
You can still do that. So,
Then you just leave it in the metal door.
We spoke to the sheriff yesterday about it, talked to him about the installation, and then he said, no, I don't pay anything. I was trying, if I need to, I'll just put a chair or a book or something up there. He says, it's no
I think
issue.
we're getting down
So
in
we're
the
gonna get out of it.
but I think we need
They
to
still have
back
to go to
off
the
on a broader perspective and
Do I?
let's see what we
They have
can
a
do
bathroom.
and then we'll come back.
The sheriff has a bathroom?
Doesn't have a bathroom.
Doesn't.
Some more with that. Would you be comfortable with that?
That's fine. Make it work well.
Well, I'm asking you right now,
I will be there.
you know, and that's, the involvement we need to finish the building.
That's right.
But we only got so many dollars to finish.
That's right.
And we don't have a bottomless pit of money. We have a sheriff's department that's falling apart, that has to have some stuff, attention to it yesterday. And I mean, we're trying to stretch the rubber band, and we will get it stretched, we will end up with something, and especially the whole community is welcome, but especially the community center committee has to be an integral part
Yes.
as we finish that off.
Absolutely.
Okay?
So to finish the discussion on this so that you can make a good decision is, as they stand right now, yes, they are cosmetic. And I know that there is history there. And the idea, one of the ideas was to make the cost of it go away, was to remove the doors, but leave the transom and the jamb and everything in there in its original, you know, refurbish it a little bit. And so you would still have the history of the transoms and the opening.
And then you could, what would be the cost versus moving the old doors back and using
So
them?
that
Versus
5,600 plus the ADA opener was another 25, so you're looking at over $8,000.
to move that door.
Correct.
Well, would it be cheaper then to go ahead and get one of those cage things, the metal that just swings across and you lock?
And then you would have to put a door over at the other stairs, so you would have that cost as
We'll
well.
work through
Well,
that.
if you
Let's-
had the same thing, you just need the frame for it, not a door.
But if you're eliminating it and making just an opening, why would you want to put anything there?
Let us get down in the weeds on this and see if we can bring you 2 or 3 ideas, and then we can try and figure out what makes the most sense.
And all the other doors that are up here where the library is and these two areas, they're all gonna be lockable doors. So you've got 3 doors up here basically that
So
you're
it
trying to
can be
protect.
locked.
They're gonna be locked
Someone
anyway.
could get up there, but they can't get in.
Right.
And if someone's gonna break it, it doesn't matter what kind of door you put up.
Yeah.
And if they go downstairs, they get everything. If
Pardon
the
me?
door's not there upstairs, they got access to the downstairs.
Well, anything else other than the doors right now? I want to, Cal,
That's my case.
Well, this is kind of like the sheriff's office is more substation, isn't it?
Yes.
Than it is a sheriff's office.
the sheriff's office, Cal, to bring up to date as our discussions yesterday with Shannon and also Mike Halpin, will be nothing more than a room that has a telephone jack, has a data jack in it, and they said, we don't need it soundproof. We will equip it out of our sheriff's budgets. We'll put potentially put a bench along the wall that has a rail to the wall that you can secure someone with handcuffs to it. And the primary use of that is when we have deputies on this end, instead of having to go to Westcliff to file a report, they stop down here and they file their report electronically from here to
So
Westcliff.
technically, it's a substation.
Correct.
I don't know what all the substation entails.
A substation is not the main headquarters.
No, and it's not gonna have any weapons stored in it, it's not gonna have anything, it's just purely, as our agreement with Shannon
Just a
yesterday,
question.
of what he needs, it's just gonna be an office that they can sit down and file reports and if we've got a situation, it gives them someplace to go, but it's not gonna be a high security
Right.
use situation, it's an administrative type thing.
And he also
If I
said if
could
he
just-
needed to block the vent, he would just put something over the vent.
What's that?
He said if he needed to block the vent that is gonna cost the money, he would just put something over the vent
I'm
if need
sure.
be.
A substation is just what Bob explained.
Place to work.
And that is to do their paperwork and stuff so they don't have to travel all the way up the hill.
Correct.
That's what a substation is.
Yeah, that's good if we can.
But anyway, does that answer, you folks see what we're,
It's a big deal.
The door.
it's not gonna be a Custer County Jail East.
And you don't want that.
No, you don't.
I don't want that.
No, you don't. You don't want that.
Okay, what else do we have?
I have another question.
Yes,
Once I'm
ma'am.
done.
Please.
The kitchen, the ceiling, would it be cheaper to leave, where you don't know what all you gotta put in the ceiling yet?
Well, we do
Whatever
now.
vents and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, you were talking about dropping the ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
which it's high down there anyway, that
Right.
wouldn't hurt. But what kind of ceiling material are you talking about? Like studding it out, drywall, and
No,
texture
it would be one of
or
the
metal?
grid ceilings. So the suspended grid ceiling, and then they put the ceiling tile in it. So it'd be a
Washable.
yeah, it helped put it
What
through.
is cheaper, doing that or drywalling it
You can't.
and you can't drywall it? With
You could do a
seal?
drywall ceiling in there.
No,
but
you can't.
No, you can't, it's gotta be
It's gotta be
clean.
accessible.
Yeah, but if you used enamel paint and sealed it, yeah, it is washable.
Yeah, those are things, you're entirely correct, those are things that will,
But we gotta do it.
They're on the
Well-
table
By
at the
pushing
moment.
it out, we're not bringing it in to do it. I mean,
And
if
I
you
don't-
wanna save a
I don't think-
I don't know
dollar.
if that's entirely true. We
Yeah,
may
yeah.
be able to leave the ceiling the way it is. And
There's going to be definite planning, there's going to be.
I can't believe that we can't find some kind of change or some kind of a sealant. If we have appropriate subsurface to
Oh, yeah,
address it with.
drywall can be used with proper paint. It's not.
Well, we'll look at that.
I mean, that might.
We're not gonna leave the
save
kitchen where we
$50.
can't use it.
right.
I mean, cause the kitchen's
Because I want
used.
coffee when I'm over there.
It's used, but it's not a restaurant.
By,
It still has to follow
Yeah,
the
that's-
same code.
Code makes you follow the same thing. So
If we could do it by drywall and paint versus several $1,000s for the little crappy things that
ma'am, you're thinking exactly correctly. What's the way to solve it aesthetically pleasing without running up costs that are unnecessary? You're thinking 100% correct. But the aesthetically pleasing is really important. It's gotta look good. We're just not gonna put up, foam or something. You're thinking,
anything else, anyone?
Well, we've gone through and we've broken all of those costs out, so everything is line item and itemized. So within the amounts that we've talked about, it's kind of a laundry list of items to kind of go through and just make decisions on whether they're absolutely necessary, if we have to do them by code, then we can't get around it, those kind of things, and then some of the aesthetic things that, it's whether you want to.
Okay, at this time, if there's nothing else, two things are, I'm not sure which we want to do. Do we want to try to work here, or do we want to go back over to where you have bigger tables to work on? Would that be, which would be the most,
We're here now.
we got enough room there, you think we can?
Yeah.
we can work? Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion to recess the Custer County Commissioners Board meeting and we'll go into executive session.
I'll move that, we do that.
I'll second the motion as stated.
I don't have the exact verbiage, gentlemen, in front of me, because I don't have that sheet, but as per Colorado Revised Statute, Commissioner Prince made a motion, seconded by Commissioner Cliff, that we go into executive session, and the purpose of the executive session will be to discuss the contract issues raised in the Wetmore Community Center Library Building. At this time, do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
We did that, we just have to.
No, we just, well, but I'll need, okay, we'll excuse the room and then we have to have a motion to open the executive session. Is that right, Mr. Attorney?
No, you
Actually,
just
we
have
need a
to.
vote.
We
We're going
need
All
a
in
motion.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for being here this morning. I wanted you to have a front row seat. Thank you. And we will get it fixed. I don't know how. One other thing, excuse me, before you leave, this is just an FYI for you folks. We've had some really neat help from the Wetmore Fire Department down here. A lot of the flooding that may occur from the Junkins fire will be coming down South Hardscrabble. Some we anticipate can come down North Hardscrabble. We're still assessing those risks, but there is a potential that that Smith subdivision may be partially at risk. We've had some groups come through, including the Corps of Engineers, some state groups we're working with, trying to find some money and so forth. One of the things that we're thinking about doing is trying to work with the landowners along the creek to try to clear out the brush and the trees, the debris that potentially will wash up next to the Highway 96 bridge. I'm afraid we're gonna dam up on that bridge. It's gonna run off to the east and right around the old gas station and on we go. I'm also somewhat concerned right there above the post office. There's an irrigation ditch comes out there, and I understand back 26 or whenever it was they had the big flood, we did have water that come out of there. We'll be having some community meetings with you folks, but we're trying right now. Our Office of Emergency Management is working just about full time on what we can do for mitigation. We are partnered with the Soil Conservation District, San Isabel Land Trust, and the NRCS to do some reclamation. We requested funds to do a bunch of reclamation work on the private land so we can help reduce the flow that's going to come down into the creek. All of those are wheels that are turning, and sooner rather than later, we're going to be visiting with you folks. And we won't have a flow from the Corps of Engineers possibly till the end of March. I'm concerned that we have something ready to go because we could have some water by then. And we've requested funding to put some monitoring stations up on the mountain, some stations at least on the North Creek Bridge. All of this is in process and has been now for a few weeks, but we're still pushing. So just an FYI for you folks. Yes, ma'am.
Is anybody communicating this to the people who actually live along the creek?
Pardon me?
Has this been communicated to any of the residents that live?
Has been communicated to them.
Yes.
This is where we're starting now. We have to have some plans. We can come to the folks and say, okay, this is potentially what we can do. How do I say this and not sound like I'm being crass? It's private land. But we want to do what we can to help facilitate. I know we've got some senior citizens there that need some help. We've got some groups that have indicated they may be willing to donate some time to come in and help us clean that. We're working on a couple of options to dispose of the wood and slash that we pull out of there, so you don't have to go very far to get rid of it. One of them potentially might be this wood products company in Pueblo that actually comes in and chips stuff and hauls it away. Those are all things we were looking at. Forest Service, maybe we could burn up where the game overlook is there on 96, right there below the Smith subdivision, but that isn't a big enough area. They said, well, we can haul the North Creek. I said, no, we can't haul the North Creek, or the 12 miles. I said, my God, that's, where we are here, that's too far and it's all uphill. That's not going to work. So we will be, I'm anticipating in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're pulling together maps now of owners and working on plans so we can come in and I also want to go so far, working with you folks, to develop evacuation plans. And I want those evacuations plans to be grassroots driven. In other words, here's a person that may need some assistance. This person will check on him, that person will check on him, and this person will check. So if somebody's not there, there's somebody there, neighbor helping neighbor to get them out of the way. That we have all of this ahead of time so we all understand. We may not have an issue, but I'm afraid potentially we're going to lose the bridge right there in Greenwood because the road's lower on the north side of the bridge than what the bridge is. I'm afraid we may have some flooding down through Wetmore. But again, we're not going to say that you can't do things. We've got some ideas. There's a lot of wells right along the creek. And we've got some ideas of how we might be able to sandbag those to keep them from being contaminated. We'll also need to identify where the septic tanks and leach fields are. Because again, those are sources of contamination into the runoff water. So I wanted you folks to be aware of what we're looking at, how we're trying to pull this together. And
we want to be proactive and have a plan rather wait till the flood comes in and try and help you. That's what I'm trying to work with. And Bob's taken the lead on this and has done an excellent job. But we're all very heavily involved in this because we're concerned with the fire that there's a potential hazard, and I don't want to have to face it after the water comes down. So, the old saying, being left high and dry, that's a kind of a derogatory statement. I'm not going to tell you. For the first time, I'm going to say it in a positive. We want to keep you all high and dry.
And the last point I want to make, this lady back here is a real wheel horse on helping us work through this, and as we go forward, if she will be willing, she'll be one of the people that will utilize on the local contacts and things, and it's neighbor helping neighbor kind of a thing, folks. Okay. Thank you very much. And,
I'm your contact if anybody needs me. My numbers are available, it's on the website, just call me anytime for anything. Do my best to do.
Do we have a executive date? We're done our executive.
Okay.
session.
We're good, Bob.
Okay, I will now reconvene the meeting of the Custer County Board of Commissioners, and it is 11:21. Do we have any other meetings? I attest that we stayed on topic. No items or decisions were made. Only discussion regarding the Wetmore Community Library Center.
And as an attorney and a trustee, I'll affirm that no decisions were made and we stayed on topic.
Okay, now do we want to talk about potential points of savings at this point in time?
I would just like to review the list that was discussed in executive session, and understand the figures are not final, but for those that were listed that could affect the direction that Tony goes in today. I would like to make the motion that, especially on the doors that we discussed, on the sheriff's office, the venting that we discussed, that we move forward with those savings today.
Should we set a timetable on when we get those other numbers back to you? So that, you've
Yesterday?
got it full.
Is there an amendment to your motion?
Well,
Pending
that
other
would be
numbers?
You gotta second it first.
Well, I'm gonna second first. I wonder if she wanted to change her motion. She just made it, she wanted to add to it.
No, I think it should be a separate motion.
All right. Do I have a second for Donna's motion? I'll second it. Favor say aye.
Aye.
Same, opposed, same sign, motion carries unanimous. Now, do we need to identify or recognize that we are still working on changes? What would be the pleasure of the board regarding that?
I'm just gonna ask that you both get back to us, everybody, as soon as possible on the list that we discussed so that we can move forward, because we actually have a meeting here Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning, so.
And I think if we get the list, we could vote at that time what to approve, if we approve it or not.
So you need Monday afternoon, you need
If we could have that.
those numbers. Do you think that's possible, Justin?
I can get back to the office today and take the line items that we've discussed and do a summary and
That would be great.
And if you don't know information like the savings on the paint and things that, I mean, it's still out there, so just leave them hanging until we do get information.
I'll put those items in there. I'll get them over to you. If there's an item that we don't have yet, I'll explain that we're waiting
In
on that.
process.
Yep.
The way we'll probably go on Tuesday when we get into our normal agenda items and we have audience participation. We're probably going to have some topics on this. I'm going to move it on because we'll have this on the agenda. But we do need to include the Wetmore Advisory Board to get their buy-in where they feel like they were part of the process.
Absolutely.
And then we can make it from there.
Well, did that just affect what we just said Tony could do today?
I don't think so, but I think we need to say, you know, they have got to be in, they've got to feel like they're involved.
Well, we just kind
You
of
had
made
a
a
thought for me?
decision.
Well, I thought you were,
No,
when she does this, it means shut up, Bob, you got your foot in your mouth.
To move forward on the door today, it could be as easy as not do anything. You see, to move the door requires work. To not move the door doesn't require work.
I
So I'm good
understand.
there.
It needs a crowbar.
As far as those vents in the sheriff's office, you know, we can put
What are
some
we
sheet
putting
rock
in there?
on
Is
the
this
wall.
the existing bed, is this
We
still
have, we
functional?
have a transfer, an air transfer that goes from the ceiling in one room down through the wall to the floor in the next room, so that the air balances.
That's gotta be what you need.
And yeah, and they didn't like the insulation factor or noise factor for being able to transfer through the grill.
So, well, I don't know
And
who
that'll
brought
be
that up
here, it's not an
initially,
issue. It's
But
not
it
an
wasn't,
issue.
I don't know who brought it up.
I brought it up.
I think the installation you did is great. I think the grill is not an item.
Okay.
The insulation.
The installation in between the sheriff and the next
It's
Sounds
guy
already
over.
existing.
That's
You're
already
gonna get
there.
Yeah.
So
It's already done.
can we go ahead and button up that wall?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
There's some that's.
yeah.
They're saying that the
Not-
transfers as installed are chronically fine. That's what they're saying. There's no issue of noise.
Right.
So we can go
The
ahead.
insulation
That was in the job to begin with, I believe.
that's between the two.
No, no, there is
That
nothing
needs to
in
come out.
Yes.
So I think the insulation you've seen,
I'm thinking,
it's
yes.
sticking in between the hole in the top and the hole in the bottom.
No, it was the
No,
walls.
the whole
No, they're
wall
just
is
ironed
insulated.
outside.
Yeah, the whole wall is.
Yeah.
But there is a small piece of
No, we
insulation.
took that
understand that.
out.
Okay, so that, I just want to make sure you know
I'm
that's
with
not
you.
going to be in
Yeah,
there.
we're fine.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, you can go ahead and button up that wall and get it finished.
Okay.
And then how about the bathrooms? Can we,
We're gonna leave it open.
I'd say button the bathroom up as you can. As we said, we can leave it open where they can have
Well,
an
we have to have a
inspection.
sign change order before we worked on the bathroom. That's what we gotta have.
It
I
is,
mean,
this,
we don't have one if they'll verbally tell us to do
No.
it. I mean,
I started working on it.
We
we just
started.
need to get going.
Yeah, we started the framing to try to be proactive in the effort of saving time.
You had that framing done 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Tom, do you have a comment?
we could generate a change order today that only had the bathroom, nothing else. And that way, everything's official.
That's fine.
Here's why I would like to do that. At this point in time, I have a request for payment from Whitlock that shows this change order amount in total. It's wrong. I can't approve, in good conscience, I can't approve this invoice the way it's written right now. So if we could say that we'll do a change order today, which I can generate, bathroom only. Either I can adjust this or you can have your office do
We
that
can
to
adjust
reflect
it.
only that change order.
Yeah.
The reason that I'm bringing this up right now is that this has to be to Brenda today.
Today.
Yeah.
For
So
payment.
I can't approve it the way it is.
Okay.
So we can do this simultaneously. If you can modify this to show only the amount for the bathroom, and if we can make sure that everybody understands what that
Email
is,
it to you.
then I'll generate a change order, you can sign the change order, they can sign the change order, and I can get this approved.
You'll
With the
need to
new
make a
one.
motion to approve that change order then? That, and
We need
approve
to-
Bob to sign it
We
today.
need to approve what we need to do in that change order. So it's, what verbiage do we need?
I'm just gonna put in that, let's see, it'll be provide pricing for new ADA bathroom, restroom for previously submitted plans, including revised partition layout, wall finishes, ceiling, deletion of one light fixture, as well as plumbing and mechanical revisions, $13,006.86. That will be change order number 2 in its total. Everything else will come in change order number 3. And that's a clean way to do this so that this payment certificate
appreciate
agrees
that.
with the
I
contract.
will
amount.
entertain a motion approving the change order number 2, which reflects primarily the changes in the bathroom, the handicapped bathroom downstairs. And I ask that the board grant me the authority to sign the change order today so we can get the processing done.
So moved.
Second.
I made the motion.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted to entertain it.
That's what you said.
I said I did, and then I made the
Read it
motion.
back. I want to hear what he said.
Anyway, okay, you moved, you second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Is there anything else needs to come to the board at this time?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you folks.
So
Thank
I'll
you so
just,
much.
Are you able to process that with them?
yeah, so I'll change this. I'll sign it, send it to you guys, you guys gotta sign it, and then I'll send it to them
Okay.
for their signature.